Smiley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Monday, December 19th. So welcome to what I would declare as the absolute busiest day in the cosmos thus far this year. And of course, I am kicking my own astrological ass right now because today just happens to be my moving day. Why, oh why would I choose this day? Do I not pay attention to the stars? Anyways, hopefully you all are going to have a easy-go-lucky day. I hope I have an easy-go-lucky day as well. But let me just say, with the moon in Scorpio and the last day of Jupiter being in Pisces and 18 different aspects here today with 9 of them involving the moon in Scorpio, I hope that the odds are forever in our favor. So let's just break it down just a tad. First of all, like I explained yesterday's forecast, having the moon move into Scorpio is always very deep, very dark, very probing, very intense, very transformative. And especially right now, we are wrapping up the final days of Sag season. We are wrapping up the final days of this karmic chapter. This takes us back to the fall equinox that we had when Libra season began. This takes us back to the Scorpio season that was very deep, very dark, very transformative in some not so nice ways because, of course, eclipse season was wrapped up all in that as well. So it is no joke that the moon in Scorpio is going to carry us into this next level of the video game, this next karmic chapter, if you will. And of course, with the last day of Jupiter being in Pisces, this close out his last 12-year cycle. Of course, we tried to close out this last 12-year cycle back in the spring, back on May 10th when we moved into Aries energy, but we didn't stay there very long. We had a couple of things we needed to reflect on, revise on, review. And a lot of that was the tough love, life, spiritual lessons that this Pisces energy definitely brought us. Yes, it definitely beat us down, broke us down in order for us to realize where it is that we needed to heal, where it is that we needed to bring things full circle, where it is that we needed to align with our higher selves and really dive into a new spiritual practice. So of course, anytime that we have a planet preparing to move from one energy into the other, there's always an intensity there for us to learn the lessons, for us to wrap it up. And because this is our second chance of wrapping this Pisces energy up, this Jupiter 12-year cycle up, you best believe that we are definitely going to feel that intensity on top of the moon in Scorpio. So 18 different aspects. That is a lot. And again, 9 of them involve the moon. Now, before we jump into the moon's activities here today, the sun is going to make an interaction with Pluto. So the sun is in Sag energy and really in this window that I talked about in the ascension forecast, I talked about in yesterday's energy forecast. We are approaching the 27th degree in Sagittarius, which is said that that is the middle, the center of our Milky Way galaxy, aligning us with our galactic central sun. And of course, anytime that that happens, we have huge amounts of light coming in, huge amounts of light codes being downloaded to us, huge amounts of information of higher realm intelligence being downloaded into our crown, preparing us for this next level, this next karmic chapter that we are about to jump into when the solstice hits, which is on the 21st. So the sun is in Sag, trying to shine a bright light on a brand new truth that we're standing in the bright light of hopes and dreams and wishes for the future, standing in the bright light of our higher selves and really aligning with our higher selves in order to gain a bigger, broader perspective on why it is we went through what it is that we went through, and of course, preparing us for this present moment as we are preparing to jump into brand new soul contracts, brand new timelines. There's a lot of new coming at us with the solstice. So having this very awkward interaction with Pluto, the great transformer himself in Capricorn energy, this is like, I'm going to say, a huge intensity in our life force energies, a huge spotlight on where it is that the transformations are alive and well and happening within us, and where it is that we have to boss up and we have to be prepared to take on these new roles, these new responsibilities that this new karmic chapter is going to bring us, and be more in control of our lives than we ever have been before. The sun bumps into the true node. The true node is our soul's path, our destiny point, and you best believe that right now the sun is shining a bright light on our path forward. Now, when we are at a point, a cusp, if you will, on the verge of jumping into something new, the fears, the doubts, the insecurities from the past come up in order to try and paralyze us, to prevent us from actually evolving and actually moving on. What this is going to do for us in this present moment, with the sun shining a bright light on the true node in a very awkward interaction, is where it is that we're afraid to grow, where it is that we're afraid to improve, where it is that we are afraid to make the kind of progress that we know that we have to make for our soul's evolvement. It is very intense. It is very deep. It is very probing. The moon is in Scorpio energy. That is the layer of intensity that we will have all throughout the day. Now, here's the thing. The moon in Scorpio is going to make a positive interaction with Mercury, who is in Capricorn energy, who is also in his pre-shadow period, mind you, because he is going to be going retrograde here on the 29th. So Mercury is essentially slowing down. He is going to be falling asleep, and the closer that we get to the 29th, the more our, I'm going to say, intellect is going to slow down and shut down in order for our intuition, our higher selves, to be able to take over. Now, the moon and Mercury is our heart space and our head space, and they are getting along very, very well right now. Scorpio energy, Capricorn energy typically gets along very well because there's this transformative element that Scorpio lends to Capricorn energy, which of course is an earth energy that, although will change when presented with information and reasons to do so, for the most part, just wants to stick to this building, the same old structure, the same old foundation. So here's the thing. Mercury is in Capricorn energy, thinking long term about our goals, about what we want to see happen, about what we want to manifest. Keep in mind, Capricorn energy is the manifesting energy of the zodiac, so we have to be very careful with what it is that we're focused on and what it is that we're speaking right now. And the moon in Scorpio is examining the past, where it is that we've come from, everything that it has taken in our experiences in order to lend us into this particular moment that we are preparing to jump timelines, to jump into new soul contracts. Emotionally and mentally, we are on the same page. We know that the transformation is taking place. We're prepared for it. We are thinking long term. We know what we need to fixate as far as what we want to manifest, what we want to bring to life. It is a good vibe. The moon is going to bump into Jupiter, which is about growth and expansion, blessings and abundance, who's at the final degrees of Pisces energy. We get some water on water action here. And the transformation that is taking place in our physical realm is taking place because of the transformation that has been an ongoing thing now for the last year and a half, technically 2 years since the Great Awakening, with the spiritual transformation going on, with the soul contracts that are ending and the new ones are beginning, with the growth and the evolution that we've been pouring into ourselves, trying to make ourselves be better and feel better and do better, with the, I'm going to say, emotional healing work that we've been doing in order to align with a new set of beliefs for ourselves, and absolutely 100% sure that we deserve better, that we want better, that we need better, that we deserve better, and especially reflecting back on some of the tougher, more harder type of life lessons that we experienced over the past 2 years. It's almost like we are in a state of recognizing that we need to be rewarded for our pain and suffering. So there's like a huge amount of growth here. We're ready to take on this new chapter. We've done the shadow work up until this point. We have done the inner realm work that is needed in order for us to be feeling prepared and on the cusp of accepting the type of abundance and blessings that are coming our way for completing this last 12-year cycle. Again, Jupiter takes 12 years to go through all the zodiac signs. He's at his final degrees of Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac, preparing to enter into Aries energy once again, which cleans the slate for us, karmically speaking, on what it is that we are about to initiate for ourselves and moving forward. It's a pretty big deal. Only 14 minutes later, we have the moon in Scorpio, making a very harmonious and positive aspect with Mars, its co-ruler. Mars is retrograde in Gemini energy. And if you've been listening to the past couple of days of this forecast and the ascension symptoms that I put out for this week, you would know that we have already met the halfway point of Mars's retrograde. He will be going direct early January. And just over the last couple of days, we have had information and details, situations unfold in order for us to realize what choices, what decisions, what paths we are now choosing over the ones that we've been debating over. Now, whether this has come as a reality check to you, information, details, situations popping off in your exterior realm to show you where it is that you have to run away from certain situations, or certain information and details emerging in order to validate for you that the choice, the decision, the path, the direction that you were kind of leaning towards is the one for you, regardless, there's been clarity. We are kind of affirming, we are validating that what it is that we've been contemplating and debating between since essentially August is now coming to fruition. We are now inspired. We are now motivated. We are now hell-bent, damn well and determined to boss ourselves up, to lean all the way into this choice, this path, this direction, and to, again, Scorpio energy, totally transform ourselves in the light of the new details, situations, and perspectives that have been very, very illuminating. So Venus goes ahead and gets into the boxing ring, squares Chiron, the wounded healer. Fun fact, Chiron is about to go direct here right before the new moon in Capricorn on the 23rd. So these are the final days of Chiron being retrograde, exposing us our self-identity wounds. Now, here's the thing. Venus, the goddess of love and beauty and worth, pleasure and money in Capricorn energy, the manifesting energy of the zodiac, down to earth, boss bitch attitude, trying to think long term on what it is that we need in our lives to feel safe and secure and stable, the relationship with ourselves that make us happy, bring us joy, that allow us to indulge in the things that bring us a huge amount of pleasure, relationship values, who it is that's staying, who it is that's going, who it is that's going to be encouraging and supporting us and moving forward, and who just needs to be let go altogether. And of course, making some very interesting goals for ourselves as far as our finances and resources go. But we're entering into the boxing ring, which means that we're going to have to fight it out, which means there's a lot of fears and doubts and insecurities coming up. There's a lot of questioning who it is that we've been, who it is that we are, who it is that we're becoming. We are having a little bit of an identity crisis. And you know what? That's okay. Sometimes you need to unlearn who it is that you've been in order to learn who it is that you desire to be. And this is definitely the type of energy that is going to support those particular aha moments. Now, the moon is going to bump into Neptune in Pisces, and this is water on water action. Unfortunately for us, this isn't the best vibe. There is a little bit of conflict here. We're tapping into the shadow realm elements of Scorpio energy and of Pisces energy. And what we are kind of being illuminated to is what is dying, what is ending, what are we closing the door on? What are we having to let go of? What are we having to surrender to? Again, this is an ending of chapter. This is a closing of chapters in order for us to begin again on this new level of battlefield in this video game that we call life, with new roles, responsibilities coming at us, with new soul contracts being initiated under the solstice energy. Venus and Mars interact with one another in a way that would suggest that we have some situations coming at us from our outside realm that pack a powerful punch on where it is that we need to regain our power, our control, our safety, our security, our stability in our own lives, especially when it comes to relationships. So we have the feminine divine energy of Venus. We have the masculine divine energy of Mars. Venus is in a forward moving position in Capricorn energy, very down to earth, very grounded. Mars is retrograde, keeping all of this energy to himself, all of the energy inside his inner realm, because he's got to fight it out on the mental plane in the battlefield of Gemini. And what I will say here is that there's likely going to be a situation in our personal relationships where there's going to be some communication needed. We are going to have to speak our truth. We are going to have to express ourselves in order for us to recognize where it is that we stand in other people's lives, to kind of gain perspective on whether or not we're pouring more into those people that we love and they're not kind of pouring as much into us as we would like. Now, this is about balancing the scales of the masculine and feminine energies that we all have within us, but also the masculine and feminine energies that we share in our energy exchanges with our personal relationships. This is about give and take. This is about meeting each other in the middle. This is about recognizing alike passions, alike desires. This is about recognizing where it is that we have a lot of ideas, but we have to choose one path, one decision, one direction, which technically we've already done. And really spend the time to bring that energy into the heart space and formulate a plan on what that actually is going to look like for us and who is going to be a part of that visual, that reality that we're now looking to manifest. Now, Mercury, who of course is in Capricorn energy, and Jupiter, who of course is in the final degrees of Pisces, they're coming together in a very beautiful way that would suggest that we are about to just be mind-effed in all the right ways. Our minds are going to be blown wide open, expanded to their absolute points of extreme that we haven't been at before. Not only are we having beautiful ideas, beautiful inspirations, beautiful, I'm going to say, glimpses of the future, but we are essentially wrapping up the past in order to begin the future. Again, we're in this very awkward, last couple of days of wrapping up this particular karmic cycle here. And what I will also say is that this is a great opportunity to speak our truth, to have the heart-to-hearts needed. This is a great opportunity to truly express what it is that we want, need, and desire for ourselves moving forward. This is a great time to talk about what it is that we've learned from some of the tough love life lessons that have been thrown at us. And this is a perfect time in order to have our, I'm going to say, higher selves and intuition connect with our lower level intellect that rules over our ego selves and actually be able to bring some of the visions, the dreams, the hopes, the wishes that we have for our future into our logical, practical mindsets so that we can kind of sort things out, start strategizing on how we're going to bring some of these things to life. Mercury goes ahead, makes a positive interaction shortly after, literally 1 minute after, with Mars. Mercury rules over the Gemini energy that Mars is retrograde in. This is a inspiration like no other, a download of insight, of dreams, of goals, of hopes, of wishes that inspire us, that reignite the fire, the flames within us to stay hell-bent, damn well and determined, to stay on path, to stay on task, to stay on our mission in order for us to reach the pursuit of happiness, of the new things that we have clearly identified that we want, we need, we desire within ourselves. This is going to be an intense energy. Again, listen to the ascension forecast where we talked about the physical symptoms that are likely going to creep up with some of these energy blasts, which at this particular point, we are going to be feeling hot to trot. We're going to feel a surge of energy just come into our physical bodies, pushing us to just want to take action. Now, Mars goes ahead and bumps into Jupiter shortly after. And let me just say that our energy is going to be over the top. And if you're not careful, if you don't give it an outlet, it may become a negative force within you. Now, Jupiter is expanding our passions and desires. He's showing us what it is that we want for ourselves. He's showing us what it is that we deserve. He's showing us that because now we have a different belief system within ourselves, that we are able to obtain new levels of manifesting that we weren't able to access before. Again, Jupiter is wrapping out this last 12-year cycle. This is where we gain perspective. This is where we gain a lot of growth. This is where we kind of get rewarded for a lot of the pain and suffering that we had to endure over this last 12 years. Mars sextiles Chiron. You want to talk about a whole lot of healing. You want to talk about a whole lot of growth. You want to talk about a lot of freaking energy here just pulsing through our bodies in order to make this shift, to make this transformation. Chiron, the wounded healer, is retrograde in Aries energy that Mars rules over. Mars is retrograde in Gemini energy, doing the back and forth inner dialogue, inner debate of the pros and cons of where we've come from, where it is that we desire to go. And because of the earlier shifts throughout this day, because it is a very magical day, if you haven't realized already, Mars is truly inspired in order to do the work, whatever has to be done in order to move forward, in order to grow, in order to progress, in order to improve ourselves. This is us being inspired and motivated to reinvent ourselves, to re-identify who it is that we are, what it is that we want, and where it is that we want to be. This is horribly, horribly intense in all the right ways. Now, the moon in Scorpio, speaking of intense, is going to come and interact with Mars, its co-ruler, in such a way that would suggest that we are going to have to be very careful with our energy. Again, throw yourself into cleaning, throw yourself into a task and chore. We have to keep the physical body moving so that that restlessness, that intensity doesn't manifest in anger and agitation. This is a good example of that. The moon in Scorpio, very deep, very probing, very intense. The highs that we're coming off of, very, very, very high frequencies. We're inspired, we're motivated, but we do have the potential to get overwhelmed, to not manage our energy correctly, and to kind of dip into the shadow realms of being angry and being frustrated that we don't know what to do with ourselves. We don't know how to take action. We don't know how to make the moves that we want to make. We're just having to sit with it. Now, the moon goes ahead and makes the same kind of uncomfortable interaction with Chiron. And if you notice, Mars and Chiron just had a great time. And now the moon in Scorpio is kind of like trying to slow them down a bit, right? Like emotionally speaking, if there's nothing for you to pour into, if there's nothing for you to do, emotionally speaking, you're going to go cray-cray. You're going to take all these energies, these vibrations, and you're going to turn negative with them. And this is the possibility right now with the moon and Chiron, because Chiron, being the wounded healer, yes, just had a huge epiphany. Yes, just took a huge step forward. But as we've been exploring, every single time that we take a huge step forward in life, that dark force agenda creeps in and tries to pull us back and keep us in a state of paralysis. So now, after this huge jolt of energy, all this inspiration, all this motivation, all these passions, all these desires, all of this like hype girl energy that we're going to go ahead and do whatever it takes in order for us to get to where it is that we need to be, suddenly we start questioning ourselves. Do we have what it takes? Are we strong enough? Are we worthy? Do we really want this? What if we're making the wrong choices? This is exactly how we start speaking fear into our dreams and suck the magic out of these very powerful moments. Now, it's not going to last for too long. The moon is going to sextile Venus. Venus, as you know, is in Capricorn energy. Scorpio and Capricorn energy get along very well together. Emotionally speaking, we are grounded enough in order to catch ourselves, digging ourselves a very deep, dark hole, dark pit for us to crawl down and feel bad about ourselves in and defeat ourselves. We catch ourselves very quickly, and Venus is like, you know what? I have done too much inner work, too much self-love, too much self-healing to get back into that dark pit. If you may remember, if you listen to Venus moving into Capricorn energy's astro forecast, this time last year, she was preparing to go into the underworld, retrograde, doing a dance with the devil himself. And we have done a huge amount of growth since then. And Venus is like coming in. She's like, nah, we ain't having these conversations. We ain't beating ourselves up. We've done too much work. We put too much time and love and energy into ourselves in order for us to sabotage a good thing. We're on the cusp. We're on the precipice of a huge change. The last thing we are going to do is beat ourselves down to a point that we aren't going to be able to recover from in time for these new vibrations and frequencies to be initiated and these new soul contracts to be rolled out. The moon opposes the north node, which means that the moon is sitting on top of the south node. The north node is in Taurus. The south node is in Scorpio. This is the eclipse season, the life lesson that we have been in since 2021. The moon in Scorpio, sitting on top of the South node, is scared to death for us to move forward, is so stuck in the past, so fixated on the rear view mirror that we can't see the good that we are about to walk into with the North node being in Taurus. What are we building? What are we creating? What are we bringing to life? New relationships, new routines, new money matters, a new physical environment for many of us, with new people in it, like-minded people, loving people, supportive people, encouraging people. We are so caught up in looking back that we are missing the opportunity to be excited in looking forward. Now, lucky for us, this isn't going to last that long. The moon is going to semi-square, which isn't the nicest vibe, with the sun. This is, again, you hear me talk about the moon and the sun. Anytime they come together, it's like our past selves versus our future selves. And what we're stuck with is this present moment where we get to make a choice. Are we going to settle and allow fear to hold us back from moving forward, evolving, and aligning with the rewards and the blessings that we've been working so freaking hard to manifest? Or are we just going to be grateful and say, you know what, my past experiences have built me into who I am, gave me the qualities and characteristics that I'm standing in right now in order to put my hands out to the universe and receive the rewards and the blessings for my pain, for my trauma, for my suffering, for my efforts. The sun is shining a bright light in Sagittarius energy. The possibilities for our future are freaking endless, but we have to align with our higher selves. We have to align with our truth. We have to keep the flames in the fire ignited within us. We have to keep our excitement level up, or else we are going to snuff that flame out. Allow the water, the pain, the tears, the suffering of our past to continue to dictate what is possible for us in our future. And that is not the lesson here, especially as we stand on the cusp about to embark on a brand new journey, a brand new contract for us to reap the rewards for the pain and the suffering of our past in the future. So the last aspect here today, out of the 18 aspects that we got going on, busiest day in the cosmos, Venus is going to trine the true node. This is freaking beautiful. Venus is in Capricorn energy. She is in the mood to manifest. She is thinking long term. Her confidence is up. She's realistic in her goals. She knows what she's able to achieve. She knows her self-worth. She's not allowing anyone near her to treat her worse than she treats herself. She is understanding the redefining process of her goals, of her ambitions that she wants, she needs, she desires for herself in order to have a safe, secure, stable, happy life. In order for her to feel like the work that she has done, the pain, the trauma, the suffering, the healing, that the work that she has done is going to pay off. And of course, we know it's going to pay off because that North node, that true node in Taurus energy is asking us what it is we want to give birth to, what it is we want to be living, what it is we want to bring life to. Taurus energy is ruled over by Venus. Taurus energy is earth energy. Capricorn energy is earth energy. What we got going on here is the want, the need, the desire to build something new in relationship to the new worth, the new value that we see in ourselves, to the new wants, the new needs, the new desires that we have for ourselves, the new perspective that we have on where happiness and joy and pleasure is an absolute necessity for our overall health and wellness. So let me just say, what a freaking day.